Hey, how you doing, good people? This is Brother Joel Wilson, uh, representing IBB Investment Group out of Philadelphia. For those of you who may not know, we are a Black investment group launched right here in Philadelphia, and we are co-hosting an incredible event, um, February 23rd, 24th, the B1 movie experience. B1 is Black first. What is it going to take for Black people to put Black people first? And this is just such an important topic because, if you look at the condition of Black people around the country, economically we are suffering, and that's intentional. It's intentional. Um, there's something called Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street. So Black Wall Street was a time in which there were over 100 thriving business districts owned by Black people all around the country. The most famous one is the one in Tulsa, but there were many, many more. So they were economically self-sufficient. Black people were able to own businesses, create jobs. Folks were employed. We were able to build our own middle class, our upperly um, higher echelon classes, have cultural events. We would support them. Our civic institutions, we supported them. So all this stuff was, we were doing. It was just, a part of how we were living. And then reared this ugly head and came in and destroyed us or destroyed our town. So that's a huge challenge that we're dealing with. So I'm just trying to get Rick Mathis on, and we have some other special guests to be interviewed. We have partners in the IBB Investment Group. They're going to be jumping on. We have business owners, panelists that are going to be speaking at the B1 Experience event, February 23rd and 24th. That's a Friday and Saturday in just a couple weeks. And folks, you can definitely grab your tickets. There's some combo tickets for $16 for both days, so you definitely want to grab those. And we're just trying to get Rick on here. Rick, I'm trying to get you in. Go live with Rick. Okay. All right, I think I have it now. Rick, we're going to try to grab, oops, cancel that, invite him. Rick, hey, Ann.
Wait a second. I'm trying to come out. Hi, Joe.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Happy New Year to you. I don't think we've talked since then.
No, Happy New Year. We're so busy working.
You got that right. You got that right. So I know you have just so much going on. For those who don't know, Ann Turner is the owner and the head stylist at Hair du Jour,
Thank
and
you.
right in West Philly off 63rd Street. But you're doing so much more than that. Can you tell us a little bit more about what else you're doing here in the city of Philadelphia?
Yeah, so I'm the president of 63rd Street Business Association, which is a corridor in West Philly, but I'm also the president of PA Professional Image Alliance, which is over 200 barbershops and hair salons in the city of Philadelphia. We just secured $2 million, so a lot of the businesses was able to receive direct funding from the city. And right now, we're hosting a networking event just to kind of let the businesses know the new tax laws for small businesses. Um, and then, good news is that we just secured the apprenticeship program. So
Okay.
that's a blessing. So for us to be a part of the beauty industry and to really be able to help the younger generation become licensed professionals, to me, that was like a really big deal. So that was 3 years in the making. So just want to say, as a small business, you got to stick with it.
Yeah, Absolutely, absolutely. And the beauty and the beauty business, the hair care business, barbers, it's just such a crucial part of the Black economy. And
Right.
so I want to commend you for, you're stepping in a void that it seems like it was here in
Right.
Philadelphia and really been able to bring some great leadership. So I want to commend you on
Thank
that.
you.
I do have a quick question for you in this same vein, and I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but there was a black-owned beauty supply store on Germantown Avenue called Hafiz. Were you familiar with them?
Hafiz? Yes,
Yeah,
it was like
Hafiz,
maybe
H-A.
about 8 years ago.
No, well, they opened up 4 years
Okay.
ago, and I just heard that they they're closing.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they've been locked out of some of the supply, some of the the hottest items that particularly women buy. They
Right.
are locked out by another group. I don't want to say the
Right.
group, but they're locked out. And you know I, I'm sure you probably have more
Right.
insight in that than I
Yeah.
do. I was just seeing if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I created my hairline called Integrity. And I'm gonna be honest with you, over 5 years, it's really been hard to tap into that marketplace. You have to have a lot of funding to be able to touch in the hair market that Black people actually use and purchase. And so we have to be reprogrammed to be purposeful with spending our dollars with Black businesses and especially Black products because it's a $1 billion industry. And I think we do a disservice when we go to stores that don't always respect us, but yet we purchase on a higher level at those stores. The only Black owned beauty supply store that's still in existence is Nice Beauty Supply, and that's in Germantown. And I talked to Kevin often, and they're struggling. So we definitely have to be deliberate with where we put our money at. And if we're not seeing a return on the investment, then we have to reprogram the leaders that are allowing other people to take advantage of our marketing dollars. So that's the part that I look at. As integrity, you'll hear more about that this year because I have been strategic with how do we rebrand the way we buy from each other. I feel like if we put another face on it, we'll support. But if it's our grassroots Philly cuts, um, we don't always come out and support because they think we're rich enough. Like you got enough success and you don't need any more money. And that's not the case because we're hiring young men and women that look like us. So when you look at the level of wealth with other nationalities, they're purposeful with where they spend their dollars. Like Dunkin' Donuts is a prime example. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox. But
No, no,
yeah,
I definitely appreciated
yeah,
that, and that was that's needed. And I think a lot of people really just don't understand
right,
the depth of the issue. And for the audience, how much
right.
money is spent each year in black hair care?
Yeah, I think for a wig it's like $500, right? So you times that in one community, you're talking almost $5 million. Um, and the young ladies that's buying bundle hair, braided hair, getting products. Most of the time when you go to the corner store, you'll spend an easy $100, buying the edge control, the spritz, the gel. So it's a lot of money that we're spending in the corner store that we can really be strategic moving forward now that we know that there's a need. I think education is really important. Um, so I thank God that, I have you in my life and like the investment group has enlightened me when it comes to financing. And I don't think we talk enough about that to younger men and women, as well as some of the seniors. So I think moving forward to 2024, we have to really look at what are we spending our money on? We all like nice things, but they're doing away with Black businesses. 40% of them was permanently closed and they're not reopening. So who's going to replace us? So,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So our super host just jumped
Okay.
on, film director Rick Mathis.
Yeah.
And Rick, I don't know how many films you've put out, man, but I remember your Black Friday film to this
Hmm.
day. That to me, that's
Yeah.
one of the best films that have been put out, just dealing with the issue of Black wealth in this country. And then now this new film, man, you just took it to a whole new level. So just
Oh,
thank you
thank you.
for putting the film out. And now I'm going to turn the mic over to you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Again, my name is Dr. Rick Mathis, filmmaker from Atlanta, Georgia. Excited about being a part of the IBB investment, and definitely excited about having you on, Ann, and excited about what you do. One of the things the industry that you're in is one of the stakeholding industries. That's one of the last industries that Black people somewhat have a hold on, the salons. I heard you all talking about the hair care, supply industry and how that's going in one of the main stores just closed in Philly. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. And I don't mean to judge, but at some point we have to say it's not about looking good. It's about maintaining and controlling our economy and that $1.8 trillion. So, I mean, I don't like to judge, but it's just not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling.
Right.
Not a good
I
feeling.
agree.
But
Yes.
on another note, I'm looking forward to seeing you and hearing you at the B1
Yes.
Experience in
Thank
Philadelphia. We're excited about coming. Looking forward to hearing, the great things that you have to share as well. Um, tell us a little bit about like what motivated you to be a part of IBB Investments because I know that what you're doing as a group, as a collective, is very powerful. It's inspiring. Not only are you networking together, but you're investing together. Like, tell us what was the motivating factor that you say, man, I got to join this
you.
group. I got to be a part of this. I got to be one with people in my community.
Right. So I would say me and Joe have known each other for years, and
Mhm.
he's always been very Black conscious. And it's like being around like-minded people made me say, okay, every time I'm around like-minded people, it gets me more inspired, especially when it comes to learning about our Black history. And when it came to the investment group, I'm like, I know nothing about stocks and cryptocurrency. So many people would come to my salon asking me about joining cryptocurrency, and I said I'd rather go with the professionals that study this. So the investment group, looking at all the men and women that focus on what stocks, they do their research, they do their homework. I said I'd rather be a part of somebody that I trust and the team that I trust when it comes to me spending my dollars with a group that I believe that will really make a change, and we have. So I'm so thankful for the years that I've been working with all the men and women a part of IBB. I mean, they keep us on our toes because we have to get on those 2 hour Zooms once a month, Joe. But it's enlightening me. I
Yeah.
really can say I feel more prepared. So yeah.
Yeah, and the thing I like about it is there's like requirements, like you have to read certain books and do certain things in order to be qualified, in order to participate. Can you share with the audience some of those things that you all have to participate in and do?
So yeah, so a part of Black Wall Street, he wanted us to learn the history, and then also, the spook that sat behind the door, Dr. Leon Sullivan, and the way he was able to, really change that area in North Philadelphia and that mindset, and they have the blueprint. So some of the books, Joel, will say, hey, just read some of these things, and then when you're Black conscious, you read a lot of those books on your downtime, and of course, poetry, like learning about James Baldwin and Frederick Douglass, like all the leaders that have paved the way. We become very passionate when we hear about some of our Black history and not just saying it, but really putting it to use. Like Black people can work together, Black people can build wealth together. And that's one of the things I can say about our group. Some of the investments not always great, but we learn from them, right? And so we don't let that stop us from doing other investments. And so that's what I look at when he tells us, do your homework, study and vet the right people to be on the team so that way we can continue to grow and build.
Yeah, you made an important statement. And me, I like to look at things from a positive note. But, you made a statement saying that, a lot of people say Black people can't work with Black people. But if Black people can't work with Black people, who else can they work with? Because the Asians work with the Asians, the Europeans work with the Europeans, the Latinos work with the Latinos. So if Black people can't work with Black people, who else can they work with?
So,
All right, I
so
agree.
Rick,
I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No problem. I just wanted to share something. So
Hmm.
in Philly, we have one of our many great scholars,
Hmm.
Dr. Malefi Asante. He came up with a
Hmm.
term some years ago called cultural glue. And so
Hmm.
with cultural glue, if we have that, then that is going to allow Black people the ability to work together just like every other group does. But what's happened with us, and I'm gonna try to make an analogy with like the zombie movies. I love the genre. So when Black people are born in this country, we're born into the virus of racism, and we are impacted just like white people. So we look at each other this in a similar way that white people look at us. But the antidote is reading Miseducation of the Negro and reading Leon Sullivan's book and and Dr. Asante's stuff and practicing Kwanzaa. All these things is the antidote that creates that cultural glue. Now we can trust each other. Because if you think about it, in our investment club, and this is our 5th year, every month the partners send money in without us calling them.
That's a an example of Black people working with Black people that needs to be broadcast all over the world. You're sending your money religiously to, a group that is investing, and you're trusting them to invest your money and do what's right. So, I mean, I salute you all for doing that. I salute you.
And the market right
Yeah.
now is hot. And so black folks, we need to participate when the market is hot. Well, I mean, we need to participate, period. But just to give you an example, in our portfolio right now, where I just checked it this morning, we're at 194. We had to take a pullback last month, but from last month, from December 187, because we took our pullback, we went to 187 to right now we're back to 194, and, and
So
that's
is
what
that
we're doing. Yes, so
194,000?
we went from
Yeah,
187,000
make
to
sure you
to 100.
say that,
Okay,
because
okay,
that's
no
good.
problem. So
Yeah.
194,000, and that's less than 60 days.
Mhm.
And so just imagine if we're playing, we're playing in the couple $100,000 range. So we're trying to get to that half million, to that $1 million range. See, when you have money like that, that's when you have it becomes perpetual. So you just from the interest you generate, there's a certain amount of money you'll have each year just to work with. So University of Penn in Philly, everyone knows about University of Penn. Matter of fact, is known globally. Penn has so much money in their endowment that they have a couple $100 million a year to play with. To play with. That's why they keep building. You will never drive past Penn's campus and not see new construction.
Mm.
So, how do we create the engine that spits out the money for us versus we having to keep running someone, asking them to help us, to donate and do all those type things. So I just wanted to just share that, just the little thing we're able to do, and we're at right now we're at 35 partners. So the more we can scale up with more partners, we'll be able to make those numbers move much faster in a 30-day time period. But we're good with what we got, and we quality is better than quantity. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
And then if I can
so,
add too, Joe, I want to say you got professionals that understand the market. Like when we do the banter back and forth, you have a lot of men and women that is so familiar with that space that that's what I trust. If I'm a hairstylist, I'm not going to go to an unlicensed stylist. So, when you have a hiccup, you got to know who can fix it. So that's what I'm pleased to say about IBB. It's like they definitely know their numbers, they know what they're doing, and people that want to invest, you got to know who to invest with, because made off with a lot of
yeah.
people money. So, you got to think about that
And
when you start thinking about your
yeah.
dollars. You got to be honest about why do you want to invest with this group. You
Hmm.
know.
Yeah. And then white people, when they say we can't work with white people because Madoff with all our money, like you just said. So, that's something that we really have to destroy. And, the thing that I say is black people got to fall in love with being black. They got to love being black. Once you fall in love with being black, you're going to love your sister. You're going to love your brother. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to learn how to trust them. So that's really what we have to start doing. So I thank you for your time. And do you have any closing remarks, anything that you want to add, anything you're excited about seeing and participating in, the B1 experience that's taking place in Philly on the 23rd and 24th of
Yeah,
February?
I just want to say I'm proud of you. Thank you for always telling the truth and telling the story. So I appreciate that, and I think so many other people can't wait to see you and the work that you're doing. So God
Thank you.
bless.
Thank you. I'm
Thank you.
looking forward to coming
Yes.
to Philly. Philly is like a mix between New York and Atlanta. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like a good combination
Yeah.
of like New York and Atlanta. But love the food
Thank
there.
you.
Looking forward to being there.
Yes.
Hmm.
Looking forward to you coming. Have a blessed night.
Yeah. All right. You too. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Hmm.
Okay, Rick. So we have some other folks that are should be jumping on now. I'm just doing some of the stuff in the back
Okay.
end to see. Um,
Yeah. So,
it's Go ahead.
so yeah. So what I was going to say is, for those who don't know, we're having the B1 experience February 23rd and 24th. In Philadelphia, North Broad Street, where we'll be celebrating Dr. Leon, the Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan. Let me say that right. The Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan, who was an amazing trailblazer in Philadelphia. He did some amazing things, man, brought together some amazing people. And he did what IBB is doing. He created an investment group. He brought people together. He established a trust. He built shopping centers. He built all kind of amazing businesses and did some extraordinary things there, man. So that's who we're celebrating, and that's who we're honoring this Black History Month. But not only is it just Black History Month, we celebrate Black history 365 days a year. Let me say that again. We celebrate Black history 365 days a year. You'll see me rocking this B1 shirt 365 days a year. You know what I'm saying? And loving being Black and talking to people about who I am and what I stand for and what I believe in, the amazing things that I've had the opportunity to do with Black people. So that's what we're doing. We have this amazing film that myself, Dr. Rick Mathis, partnered with Dr. Boyce Watkins to create B1 the movie. Now, B1 the movie is it's an extraordinary documentary that features everybody from Dr. Claude Anderson to Queen Afua, Riza Islam, Nuri Muhammad, D1, Larice Purnell out of Cleveland, Dr. George Frazier, who else in there? Professor James Small. So it's a host of, I call them legends, like living legends that are in this film, and we're having the conversation around what is it going to take for Black people to start putting Black people first. That's the conversation we're having. What is it going to take for Black people to get on code and put Black people first? And what we mean by getting on code, meaning that it's an unspoken code that just happens naturally because we love Black people. It's something that just happens naturally. So that's what we're talking about in the film. I was looking at some statistics today. In the areas of income inequality, the unemployment rates, education, the criminal justice system, health disparities, the wealth gap. Like we can go on and on and on. But the question that I have, because if you're looking at a lot of this information, right, a lot of this information can get depressing at times and can feel like, it's really heavy on you. You'd be like, woe is me. Am I the only one that's, out here feeling, the heaviness of what's going on in the world? But the thing that I say is let's look at how we can kind of change the narrative and look at it from a positive perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the times we don't focus on the positives, we focus on the negatives. But I'm here to say, how can we start to focus on the positive things that are happening in the Black community and, amplify the good that's happening, in the Black community. So that's what I challenge you all to do when you wake up in the morning. Look at the positive things. We know it's a lot of negativity going on. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on. But how do we focus on the positive? Because where energy flows, where attention goes, things expand. You know what I'm saying? So wherever your attention goes, it's going to expand. So why not put that attention on something that's positive so we can expand that? I don't know if we're ready yet,
Yeah,
Joel.
we are ready. We actually got
Okay.
Professor Ishmael Jimenez is on. And for those who
Okay.
don't know, he is the Director of Social Studies for the School District of Philadelphia and a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. So this brother, and more than that, he is an activist. I see him all the time doing his thing here in Philadelphia. So, Brother X.
Yes,
Yeah,
brother. What's going on?
okay, he's go ahead.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Y'all can
Yes,
hear
we
me, right?
can hear you. How you
All right,
doing?
good,
Thanks
good.
for joining us.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
So if you will, you can introduce yourself and share with, the audience some of the things that you have going on and what you'll be doing in conjunction with the B1 experience.
Definitely. So it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to talk to y'all, brothers. I first want to uplift the fact, the work that I do as director of the school district of social studies for the school district of Philadelphia is directly from the work that I did with the youth in schools for over a decade in Philadelphia schools, making sure that the voiceless, the folks that don't get listened to, get elevated. So like I like to take that type of energy to the business now. I also side help like at the University of Pennsylvania for the social studies methods program for children who are learning how to teach within the school district of Philadelphia right now in the urban setting.
It sounds like you're breaking up.
Oh, bro.
It sounds like you're breaking up. I don't know if you moved to a different location. I was trying to see if it was going to smooth out. But keep talking. I just want to see if it's smoothed out.
Yeah, definitely. Is it better right now?
That's better now. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm in Arizona. That's why I'm kind of on some janky stuff. But in the school district of Philadelphia, I just make sure that we bring this type of truth not only to teachers and educators, but also that to make sure that students are getting exposed to various viewpoints, various histories that are left out of the mainstream that have been erased in order to kind of imagine something different, right? So like also on top of that, teaching at the University of Pennsylvania, I'm able to kind of instruct folks who are going to be in the classroom teaching our children how to approach the subject and with a much more nuanced perspective while also being very clear about what the challenges that folks are facing nowadays. So along with that, Black History Month is here. This is the first February. So we have a whole robust program coming up in Philadelphia, not only open to educators, but also to community members, because the original intention of Black Studies was not to confine the conversation just to a bunch of people who speak the same language, right? We got to involve the whole community in this process. So my role in the school district has allowed me to kind of elevate those levels of conversation. And so being a part of B1 on February 23rd in February 24th is a perfect opportunity to kind of extend this conversation, a conversation that not only have I been having with students over a decade now, but also with my colleagues, also with folks in Philadelphia, in order to get a clear idea in which direction we need to head into as we exist within this paradigm.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. MB1, the movie in episode 5, we talk about what is it going to take to put our children first. We talk about education, the importance of education, and Dr. Watkins has something that he calls Project 2070, where in the next 50 years, our goal is to have our kids be number one in these areas. So what are some new things that you all are teaching in order to ensure that that Black is first, and that, you know, we're putting ourselves first, and we're learning in a different, in a new creative way? Because as you know, and I do, Black people learn a little bit different, you know what I'm saying, than other people, you know what I'm saying? So what are some new things that you all are implementing to ensure that we can learn and that we are at the top of our game?
Well, first thing, we got to recognize that the art of Black teaching is the top of the game. The methodologies that Black folks have been implementing, from, you know, craters that folks digged out during enslavement, to Jim Crow, to other factors where you couldn't even teach about certain things, the model is there, right? The model of good teaching, good instruction, good pedagogy is already there, and it's already been developed by Black educators over generations. So it's a point of teaching teachers how to approach that with their students, not only through dialogue and kind of like back and forth with the students, but being very purposeful in the conversation when you're engaging them, not frauding, telling them some lies about how the system should operate and they should just follow the rules and everything will be okay, but a real purposeful, honest teaching about how to approach different subjects and the importance of recognizing kind of the barriers that truly do exist and have existed within this society, that doesn't make folks stupid necessarily, but prevents them from recognizing the genius that they already have. So one of the things in Philadelphia that we're blessed with, since 2005, we've had a requirement for every student who graduates here to take a mandatory Black history class. So already off the jump, we have kind of the ingredients necessary to really make a pot that can be steaming, that's necessary to actually envision something different, right? But also on top of that, one of the things that we're emphasizing is that not only in that course, but in courses through K through 12, that every student should be exposed. So when they come in the African American history course in high school, they should already know the groundwork, right? They should already know the basics to understand the conversation, to be asked, okay, now what? Now, what does this mean in this situation that you find yourself in? And how can we redefine the circumstances that benefit our folk, right? And so, like, by exposing children right from that jump, you change the whole definition, and then students start to get engaged in another way, not simply like checking off boxes, which unfortunately sometimes is all education has become, but start to be critically examining what they're even taught in the first place, and then start questioning not only them, the teachers in front of them, but themselves and the history that is presented, and then the stories and narratives in which is put in front of them. And I can go into details of what that looks like, whether it's in U.S. history. We ask students to look at kind of how whiteness is tied to middle-class identity, right? And how did that come about? What does that even mean? What does whiteness, how did that even like come to a definition to mean what we understand it today? And so students, while being exposed to all these ideas, are provided the space to really think about who they are, not in the sense of through the white lens, but through the sense and the lens of Black folks who already defined and divine the genius in which is all inside our children.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I think that's great, man. One of the things that I always share is, you know, I had the opportunity to go to Frederick Douglass High School right here in Atlanta. it was about 99% Black. And at that school, they taught Black excellence. And that's very important because what that does is that gives you a sense of esteem, a self-esteem, a sense of belonging and an identity that is priceless. Like I'm telling you, you can't get that nowhere. And that's one of the things that really helped me to fall in love with being Black. So one of the last things as we go to the next person that I want to ask is how are you all incorporating, AI and this all of this evolving technology into what you're teaching the kids in school?
Well, I can tell you right now, that's a huge debate about what that looks like, especially in a huge monster such as the school district of Philadelphia that serves over 115,000 kids, right? There is a ongoing conversation of what that would look like. Now, at the same time, we have brilliant educators, Black educators right now that are like, we can't wait for folks to come down and tell us how to do this, right? We need to take this initiative because folks in Fortune 500 companies are utilizing that technology right now in real time, while our babies, if not exposed at this point, are already being left behind. So I can tell you, even my son, who attends a school district of Philadelphia school and has a brilliant teacher, Sam Reed, I got a shout out, is taking them to a conference around deeper learning around how to use AI to increase his side hustle. And so, like this brother right here, this educator that I've known for like 7 to 10 years already before my son stepped in his classroom, is taking the initiative to even involve my son in this conversation. And I even try to show my son AI and how to use it. He's like, oh, dad, whatever, whatever. But this
Yeah.
educator coming from a different angle took the initiative. And see, that's speaks to what Black genius is, and also reading the tea leaves, something unfortunately a lot of our folks have forgotten to actually do. Because in the tea leaves right now, if you look closely, right, AI is going to switch up the game. It is switching up the game. And if we do not jump on and get our children on board at this point, we already lost that game and we'll be playing catch up when folks have already mastered the whole system and structure to begin with. So I think this levels the playing field. This also switches up the game, but it also provides our children with the opportunity to kind of approach life and this circumstance of America in a way that can really, make dents into kind of like what we are told it is. And it's just really fascinating to see teachers kind of taking it on their own, especially Black educators, and not wait to be told it's okay to go ahead and do that now.
Yeah, man. That's amazing, man. We definitely want to thank you for your time. We're looking forward to seeing you and hearing, your words of wisdom at the B1 Experience in Philadelphia, February 23rd and 24th, man. And parents, I say, man, get your kids in front of this AI technology because it's moving fast. It's changing rapidly every day like
Yes,
that.
sir.
There's things that I was like, wow, I can't wait until AI is able to do this. And this was just a couple of months ago that I was saying, because I'm in video production. So it was just a couple of months ago, I was just saying things that I want to see done in AI, and now it's happening. It's happening like that. So, yeah, so I definitely appreciate your time, man, and definitely looking forward to seeing you at the event on February 23rd and 24th. Thanks for your words.
Peace, man. Thank you.
All
See
right.
you soon.
All right. See you soon. Take care. All right, Joel, we got some amazing people coming up sharing some powerful information, man. How we looking
Absolutely.
on the other side over there, dude? Who we have up
Yeah,
next?
we're going to have to just giving you a little heads up. So we can
Mhm.
only have one additional guest on at a time, so not four. So that's going
Okay.
to change up the time slot. So the next up is going to be Stephanie. I'm trying to bring her on now.
Okay. All right. Well, let me know when she's in. I'll just share a couple of things in regards to what I'm doing in AI. I'm actually facilitating a workshop, a class, if you will, where I'm offering my services and showing people how to get in AI. So, if that's something that you're interested in, email me at b1themovie@gmail.com. That's b1themovie@gmail.com. I have a 4-part workshop that I facilitate that takes you through the 4 areas of production, that being pre-production, production, post-production, and distribution. And what I'm doing is actually showing you how I've used these AI tools to create B1 the movie. I've used it in everything from audio correction to actually creating images, even to organizing the footage, because we had about 50 different interviews that we did, and each interview was anywhere from 45 minutes to about an hour. So if you can imagine, that's like 50 hours of content, you know what I'm saying, that we had, that I had to sift through. And when I produced Black Friday, I had to do it the old school way, where I had to write down time code and write down who said what and write down a little bit of what they said. So if I interview Joel, I'll say Joel, and then I'll say from minute 2:10 to minute 2:30, he talked about this investment club called IBB Investment. You know what I'm saying? So I had to write down these notes that stood out. But now they have some AI technology to where you can transcribe all of the footage, which is amazing. And then if I want to know if a person said water, I'm drinking water. Yeah. If I want to know if a person said water, put that in. It'll populate every sound bite where a person said water. You know what I'm saying? Or if a person said love, or if a person says black. So it'll populate those sound bites or those clips. So then I can go in and listen to those and put my scenes and my segments together. So that's what I'm doing. I'm actually showing you, how to use this technology so that you can be ahead of the curve. You can produce content, because any product, any service that you're selling right now is being sold by producing video and photos. I don't care what it is. Videos and photos. If I want to sell this hat, this A-Town hat, I love Atlanta. I can create a video content. I can take pictures with this hat on, post it online, put a blurb about it, boom. And now I can sell that. I can put that online, and that's content creation. So I'm showing you from the basics of content creation to actually producing a full-fledged documentary. So if you want to produce a documentary, if you want to produce a film, if you want to produce shorts, episodes, that's what we're showing you. So if anybody is interested in that, email me at b1themovie@gmail.com. That's b1themovie@gmail.com. But are we ready, Joe? We got the next person up,
Not
or
not just yet, man.
not yet?
Them switching from 4 to 3 is throwing a monkey wrench in my plan. So I'm trying to bring Stephanie on now. Looks like she's
Okay,
Stephanie, and then after Stephanie will be Michelle Snow from the Michelle Snow Network. So I'm
got it.
trying to get Stephanie Renee on now.
Okay, definitely. And Stephanie Renee, her company is Soul Sanctuary. Man, that sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to hear exactly what she does, because you got to have something for sale. George Frazier said, if you can't find nothing for sale, say get a bag of manure, get some manure, put it in a bag, and put your name on it, and sell that. But we're in the age of selling. You got to have something for sale, man. I don't care what it is. The more products you have, the more things you have, the more your products will get out and work for you. And you have some money at the end of the day, and you'll be able to leave something for the next generation. You know what I'm saying? So definitely looking forward to hearing from Renee with Soul Sanctuary. Soul Sanctuary. What y'all think that's about? What do y'all think Soul Sanctuary is? What do they say? You know what I'm saying? But I'm excited about this B1, the experience taking place on February 23rd and 24th in Philadelphia, North Broad Street, where we're actually showing B1 the movie but B1 the movie is broken up into 5 different episodes. So we're showing an episode, and then we're having dialogue and conversation around that episode, because what we've done is the way it was produced, the way the film was produced, is it was produced in episodes. So you can actually play an episode, have conversation and dialogue around that episode, and then go to the next episode. So one of the episodes, like episode 2, it deals with media. So in episode 2, we talk about music, we talk about film, we talk about social media, because right now media is really the thing that has us in the chokehold as Black people. You know, it's really like it really has captivated our minds. You know, I was listening to Carl Nelson earlier today. He's a radio personality out of DC. But I was listening to him, and he said they were talking about reading, and he said, "How do you get the cell phones out of the kids' hands and the books in their hands to read?" You know, so I'm thinking, wow, that's a interesting question. So, is it that you have them utilize the what do they call what's the thing online that the Kindle, the Kindle? Do you have people? Do you have them read their books through their cell phone with Kindle? You know, so therefore they can still have that cell phone in their hand, because the cell phone nowadays is almost like a pacifier. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a
I haven't
pacifier. I see you.
heard I haven't
Huh?
heard the Kindle in years.
Yeah, I know. What doesn't Kindle have an app that's online on your cell phone?
Yes, they do, but just no one even uses that term anymore. No one says I'm reading on my Kindle. Even if you're in church, people are just on they're just on their phone
I'm
because
reading it on
you
my
can
cell phone.
Google,
I'm reading it on Amazon.
right? So
Okay. Got it. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because so yeah, and that's normally how I read, you know, my books and literature, um, you know, on Amazon or one of those platforms like that. But that's the thing. So I know with me too, I like to actually read a book, like a hard copy book, to feel the pages and, you know, really get involved with the book. You know what I'm saying? So, so did Miss Snow come on yet? Did we get her on yet?
I'm still trying to work
No.
out.
Yeah, we
No,
were having some. I was having some challenges as well getting online through my other Instagram page. So I had to use the B1 page to come on. So if she has a different Instagram page, ask her to try the other Instagram page, because I don't know what's going on. Must be something in the air, you know, with technology. You know, this technology is
it
very
changes.
strange.
It
Yeah,
changes
that's it.
so quick. It changes so. But what it
Yeah,
seems like is going on now is that when the last person leaves, that slot is still filled, and so I don't know exactly what we have to do to, let it know that, hey, that person is gone. They're gone, gone.
yeah, understand.
We're trying to bring on.
I think you can request to have them join too. Uh, if you being the host,
So I've
you go.
I've tried, but mine won't even allow me to invite. So
Wow.
if let me see if I can make you a co-moderator, and then you can
Yeah,
invite.
so if you can make me co-moderator, I should be able to invite them, because we got some good things, some good people lined up for y'all tonight, man. And want to make sure that you know, we get a chance to have these people come on, have these people speak, have these people share, you know, so you can get a sneak peek, a little sample, if you will, of what we'll have going on in Philadelphia on the 23rd and the 24th. But shout out to all the people that have come in and supported us. I see Flint in the chat. I see Isha in the chat. I see who else? Vibe Mistress in the chat. Who else is in here? Grow with the Snow. I see you in the chat. Miss Taylor is in there. Who else is in there? I see a lot of Mind 3. Okay, that's a tongue twister. I see them in the chat. But yeah, I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting us and actually, tuning in. This is the first day of Black History Month. But guess what? Like my people on the west side of Atlanta say, but get what? Get what? We celebrate Black history 365 days a year, people. Black history is not just 28 days out of the year or 29 if we celebrating leap year. We celebrate Black history 365 because you know what? We in love with being Black and we love Black people. And we got, man, it's so much to talk about when you talk about Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like Black people, y'all just so amazing, man. Y'all do some amazing things. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at, so Black History Month is a time where we talk about like inventions and stuff like that. Black people invented this, Black people invented that. So there's a book. What would the world look like without Black inventions? You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be a traffic light because a Black man invented that. It wouldn't be an iron because a Black man invented that. Shoot, I was just talking to this gentleman last night that he said he invented the technology that's used to for the iPods or the EarPods and the voice recognition and all of that. So he invented that, but he has to go to court and sue Apple because they stole his technology.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
This guy's name is Gregory Walker. What's his last name? Johnson, I want to say. Gregory Walker Johnson. Yeah, I want y'all to look him up. Don't believe me. Look him up. Let me make sure I get his name right. I'm gonna tell you his name. We got him on, Joel. Gregory
Still
Walker
don't have
Johnson.
still don't have them on.
Did you give me make me co-host? Because I was trying to see if I was co-host.
And when I tried to do that, you did not come up as a possible choice.
So what we may have to do is we may have to go out and come back in. Because sometimes you have to do that. So we just click out of the live and come back in. And it's like restarting the live because sometimes I don't know, this technology we're dealing with. So technology is real, real interesting. You know what I'm saying? But that gentleman name, y'all look him up. Gregory Walker Johnson versus Apple. What is it? Apple Incorporated. I think that's the because he's already gone to court against them. Yeah, it's Apple Inc. Yeah. So Gregory Walker Johnson versus Apple Inc. You know what I'm saying? So y'all look him up and become familiar with him because you never know. You may know an attorney or somebody that can help him out that may have a piece of information for him. So yeah. So did you go out, Joel? Are we going to go out for it and come back
So
in? Come right back in?
you stay. I'm gonna go out and then I'll come back in. I'm gonna drop.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah. So we can bring the next person on. But yeah. So he's a
Hey Rick. Hey
brilliant
Rick.
dude.
Hey Rick.
Uh-huh.
Why don't
Yes.
you drop out because I started the feed. You drop out and then come back
Okay.
in. All
All
right.
right.
All right, good people. So we're just running into some technical difficulties. We're trying to work it through. So if you can stay on, please definitely screening that's going to take place here in Philadelphia, February 23rd and 24th. That's a Friday and Saturday. B1 the movie. B1. What is it going to take to for Black people to put Black people first? What is it going to take for Black people to put Black people first? And so much of the challenges that we have as a community is rooted in economics. You know, so it's a combination of what we are doing and what we are not doing. And so there's things that we need to learn and improve on and just become knowledgeable. One is a simple thing. This week, you know, I was just doing some historical research on stocks and what stocks are doing. And so 1992, that's a pivotal year, and it's a pivotal year in hip hop. Think about who was hot in 1992. Run DMC was hot in 1992.
Okay.
You know, Public Enemy, hot, 1992.
Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest, exactly.
De La
You know,
Soul.
so De La Soul.
Yeah.
So now check this out. This is the amazing thing. When folks was in the club and they was spending all that money, if you would have just took $2,000, just $2,000, and you bought in the stock market Microsoft, your ticker symbol is MSFT. You could buy them through any broker, Charles Schwab, E-Trade, doesn't matter, any of them. $2,000. Now, you know, if you're touring, you know, they was getting paid 20, 30, 40, 50,000 or more. So they could have just broke off $2,000, Microsoft, and rolled. And right now, that $2,000 grew to $394,000 from $2,000. So just think about in 92, I was fresh out of college. Fresh out of college, wasting money every weekend. I could have invested $2,000 at the time. Now I will say I did save up and I bought a duplex. So that's where, you know, my big money was going. But I wish I would have put $2,000 in Microsoft in 1992. And the big lesson from that is that right now it is 1992 for somebody. Right now. It is 1990. So it could be your 1992, and you don't want to miss out on your 1992. And there's a host of stuff. You were just talking about AI. AI is one of the biggest things to invest in right now for stock. So, you know, I think we may be good. We may be good to bring someone on. Let me see. Nah, that still did not do it.
That is crazy. Wow. I hadn't seen nothing like this. Normally you could just go in and come out, go in and come out.
So, you know, I may need to come out. It's probably going to kill the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
just
then,
reset it. And that's what I was thinking, and then we'll come back in because for some reason it's not functioning like it should. You know, they still working the kinks out with this stuff, people. I mean, we're utilizing it, but we're actually still in beta tests. Like a lot of this stuff, it's still in beta test.
So folks, don't go nowhere. Just stay tight. Live is coming back in just a moment. All right, talk to you.